In this video, we got another episode of this series where I rate and improve your guys' teams. We do have a special guest for today's episode, including XJC2K. You guys might know him on YouTube and Twitch. I'll leave a link to both of those in the description down below. Go check him out, go show him some love, go drop him a follow and a sub. But before we get into the video, let me know your guys' team and MTM out in the comment section down below, and I'll give you guys my best suggestion and my rating 1 through 10. But how are we doing, JC?
Pretty good. Evan only did that intro about 14 times.
I'm not gonna lie, guys.
Hilarious.
I've
never seen anything like this. We've been sitting here for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it may have been like a 10-minute try to get the intro down, so I got it down, and we're just gonna get right into the video before I mess it up again. So first team here coming in from Great. He's got 150,000 MT, and he's halfway done with the KG grind. So obviously, once you get KG, you're gonna want to add him to the team. But looking at the current squad, also JC, you don't have to give a rating out of 10. I just do on my videos, so you want to give him a rating, you can. For me, I would say for this team, probably like a 9 out of 10. I think maybe an 8.5. I know I'm kind of high with the rankings. I know JC does like to give it a lot lower. I'd probably say 8.5 is probably my fair rating for this squad. With 850,000 MT, I think you can make some pretty big upgrades. I'm not 100% sure what Magic Johnson's price is, but I think picking up his Galaxy Opal is probably a really good idea for that point guard spot. And then for the bench, I mean, honestly, I would look to maybe get a James Harden if you just want to stack out your point guard position, because honestly, the rest of your squad is pretty good. For me, I would get Magic Johnson and James Harden. And then for your power forward position, I would get rid of Tim Duncan and have Yee and Karl Malone as your two power forwards. And then for the center spot, I would honestly just get D-Rob. And if you can get Oluwa Candy from going for KG, then I would have him as your backup center. But if you want to buy a center, then I think Marc Gasol could definitely be another guy you could use at the backup center position.
See, all those upgrades sound great, but I can't see the team on my screen right now, so I don't exactly know what your team looks like. So
yeah,
how about you just give us 1 second and we'll fix that.
This is the worst recorded video I think I've ever done in my life, and we're just gonna go with it. You know what? We're just gonna. I don't even know what's going on. Okay,
I still can't see him.
How can you not see him?
I can't see it.
You can't see?
I see a full yellow screen.
You can't see?
All I see is yellow.
What do you mean yellow?
Oh, now I can see.
Can you see? Dude, this is the worst video I've ever done in my life.
We're leaving it in. Let's go.
Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. Give suggestions. So this was the team I was talking about.
Okay, so it looks pretty. I mean, solid team. You got a very solid squad all the way around. Like, I like what you're rocking with. Like Evan said, I think power forward, I would probably make an upgrade over Tim Duncan. You have E, so I'd throw him in there. Add another center. I like Chet a lot as a center, to be completely honest, but you can run D-Rob and Chet as your centers, in my opinion. Ray Allen's good. Your point guard position is kind of weak. It really is your weakest position, to be completely honest. I think Magic Johnson, James Harden, he's right. Those two guys are great upgrades. Where you go Magic and Ben Simmons. Just picking up a couple PGs is going to be your main thing, and then D-Rob as well at center, who's cheap, because everything else in your team is honestly very, very solid. So don't have a ton of other upgrades for your squad besides that. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the first team. So second team today comes in from MK2, and he's got Ben Simmons, Levine, OGE, Chet, James Harden, Pippen, Kukoc, Bam, and Marc Gasol. Not a bad squad by any means, but not like an incredible team. With Evan's structure of rating teams 1 through 10, I'd give this one maybe a 7.5-ish, 8, somewhere in there. Not a great team, but not a bad team anyway. I like a lot of the players you have. Your point guards are awesome. Your centers are good. Your power forwards, I like E, I like OG, I like Scottie Pippen. I don't love Levine, I don't love Kukoc, and I don't love Bam Adebayo. With that being said, you said Levine has to stay, so we'll definitely leave him in there. Not a problem to keep the card in the lineup. And I think Pippen does play better next to Harden than he does next to Ben. And I think you need the defense off the bench, so I would keep Pippen off the bench. If you want to run Levine, we'll just keep him there. And then you said you have 800,000 MT, which is enough to get a backup small forward, backup power forward. So I don't know. Maybe you go get, who could you run?
LeBron.
You
AK?
could go get a Terry at the 2. No, AK is good. We'll go get AK because you need the defense as well. So we'll go get AK. I think we rock with that. And then the power forward position, you could play Chet at the 4 and get D-Rob at the 5. That's probably what I'd do, is slide Chet to the back at 4, buy D-Rob and start him at the 5. That's probably about it though in terms of upgrades if you're stuck on keeping Levine, in my opinion. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same with Levine. I mean, obviously, if you want to keep him, definitely use him. If you like using him and you're good with him, then definitely run him at the shooting guard spot. I think your backcourt in that sense is fine. I think for me, it's really just your small forward position is the biggest place you can upgrade. I think OG is not bad, but I would honestly just get rid of both and get LeBron and AK-47 to be your two small forwards. I think they're a lot better than OG and Tony Kukoc. And then I do agree with the power forward position. I do like Yi. Not really the biggest fan of Bam, so I'd move Chet to that backup four. I think he's a great big alongside Marcus Gasol. And then I think for your starting center position, if you can grind for an Olowokandi, if you're going for KG, he can maybe play over D-Rob to save you some MT. But if you don't want to grind for him, or you just can't get him, maybe you took Tyreek Evans, and then I would go D-Rob over a guy like I guess Chet at the center position right now. But all around, if you make those suggestions, AK LeBron, you move Chet to the 4 and get D-Rob at the 5, I think the squad is really elite. I mean, you could realistically say after those suggestions, maybe like a 9 out of 10, 8.5. It's definitely a very well complete team. Before the suggestions, I'd probably agree with JC, maybe like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. But very good overall squad from MK. Looking at the next team here, coming in from Big 7. Wait, what? Yeah, them boys cook. We still need help. Wait, what? It's because he was talking about his losses. Sorry. That almost confused the hell out of me. I was very confused. Okay, anyway, looking at his team here, I'm all over the place. He's got D'Angelo Russell at the shooting guard position. I guess he does, be the duo for Naz Reid, who becomes a Galaxy Opal. I did not know that. Okay, wow, this is a very interesting team to go 33-4 with. I don't even know.
I can't believe he has that good of a record with this team. I'm like, you must be the best.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how do I even give suggestions? Because if you're that's a better record than I have. So how am I so...
and this team's like a 4 out of 10.
Hey man, if you,
in my opinion, like it's not a good team, but if it works,
yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard to give suggestions for a team like this because it's like if it works, why switch it up? So I don't really know if we're gonna. I mean, I'll maybe give a couple suggestions I think could maybe fit your play style. If you like Jason Kidd so much, I mean, I guess because he gives a duo to Kenyon Martin. I was gonna say go for his pink diamond from the spotlight. So I think you could do that. I mean, if you get the Galaxy Opal Russ, he could obviously play over the pink diamond, just kind of an upgrade. Other than that, though, I think if you have 1.2 million MT, I don't see how a Scottie Pippen is worse than a Jimmy Butler. But like I said, if you want to run Jimmy, you definitely can. I just think that's kind of like a comparison. Both really good defensive shooting guards. So if you want to run that type of defense, offense, and your backcourt off the bench, I think Pippen is just an upgrade over Jimmy, especially with like 1.3 million. And then after that, I mean, if you like Cat at the center position, go crazy. I would probably go for a D-Rob or a Marcus Gasol or even a Olowokandi. But yeah, like I said, JC, do you have any other like kind of similar suggestions? Because I think we should really just let him rock with who he's using.
Well, this is a weird team for me. Like we're saying, if this is your record, you're 33-4 with this team. I mean, you're a dog, plain and simple. Good stuff. But with that being said, for me, it's like, I don't know. I'd be rebuilding a lot of this team. I'd be adding new PGs, James Harden, Penny Hardaway, if you want to say so. Scottie Pippen is another 2. Joseph Smith and Tim Thomas are really good at the 3s, but I'd be adding another 4 or 2 guys like Chet Holmgren, Marc Gasol at the center, D-Rob at the center. I'd be upgrading a lot of players on the team, and those are names. I'm just going to throw those names out there as guys to consider picking up. Maybe Vince Carter at the 2 as well. Players like that are certainly within your price range. You could pick up 3, 4, 5 of those guys and upgrade your team even further. But with a record this good, it's kind of up to you at that point what you want to do. So I'll kind of leave that in your hands, just throwing those names out there as guys to consider if you're trying to upgrade certain spots on your team. Now, next squad today comes in from Ant. He's got Ben, Magic, 2 best PGs in the game, in my opinion, at his starting PGs, or as his 2 PGs, which is really good. Melo and Kobe, Pippen and LeBron, Zion and AD, and then Yao and Pau Gasol. A ton to like about this team in terms of a letter grade. 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10, because I'm not super high on Zion. I don't love your power forwards in general. Backup 2, Kobe's good, but I think there's better options at this point. And then backup center is Pau Gasol, who I don't love. I don't think he's bad, but I think swap out Pau for D-Rob, in my opinion. Swap out Zion for a guy like Chet. Those 2 guys I think are pretty easy upgrades, and it's going to cost you about the same amount of MT, so you're not really going to lose MT by those 2 swaps, in my opinion. And then I would sell Kobe and I'd buy a Vince Carter and play him at the backup 2, in my opinion. That's about it in terms of your team. I think those 3 upgrades would be a pretty solid way to just upgrade the team a little bit further and push it closer to that elite, like top almost perfect team. But you already have an incredible team for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it's a pretty good overall squad. I would say your power forward is definitely your weakest position. For me, with the suggestions, I would honestly, with 165,000 MT, I would look to get a Terry Dishinger over Kobe Bryant. I do think he's a much better shooting guard than Kobe. If you sell him and Zion, you can definitely afford Terry. And then at the power forward spot, there's a couple different ways you could go about it. I mean, if you want to grind for Karl Malone, I think he's a really good power forward. If you're just looking for cards you could buy off the auction house, I still think Bob Nedelecki is still super elite at the power forward position and a lot better than a guy like Zion. Dolph Shades is still not terrible either, just throwing out some names that are, fairly cheap, that are really good power forwards. And then like JC said, for your center position, I think Marc Gasol or D-Rob could definitely play that backup center spot. You could also maybe move Pau to the 4. Might not be a terrible option if you're trying to, save some MT with only 165,000 before you do sell the card. So your bench could look something like Magic, Terry, LeBron, Pau, and D-Rob. And then your starting lineup could just be Bob Nedelecki over Zion Williamson. And I think with that, type of suggestions and team, I think it does become a lot better. But looking at the next squad here, coming in from the Aussie, he's got 150,000 MT in the bank and a pretty decent team, I would say, overall. I mean, the starting lineup is good. The bench is a little bit questionable, but rating out of 10, I'd say probably like a 6.5. In my opinion, maybe 7 if I'm being, nice. I would say, yeah, probably a 6.5 out of 10. I do like Clay's solid. They get the threes not great. So I would say for this team, you kind of just got to go into like a whole, rebuild of the squad, in my opinion. I think, honestly, get rid of everybody on your bench except for Marc Gasol. That means sell Paul George, sell K Love, sell Grant Hill, and you should be able to make almost 100,000 MT if you were to sell all 3 of those cards, maybe like 75k. So now let's say we're up to about like just below 250,000 MT for your bench. I think at the backup point guard spot, I could be missing somebody, but I do think a really good kind of budget point guard is Magic. He's not really budget, but he's about like 70,000 MT. I think he could start over Shea and then have Shea off your bench. For your starting lineup, I would say maybe move Iggy to the backup 2 and then look for 2 small forwards, trying to think of some really good budget small forwards. AK is really good for about 30k. He could be your starting small forward. Off the bench, gonna come back to that, not 100% sure. I do like Amari Stoudemire. I think he's a really good power forward. For your backup 4, I think there's a couple different guys you could go with, but I do think I'm honestly lost. I don't know where I'm going with this team, to be honest. I think Magic Johnson should be your starting point guard next to Klay Thompson. I think your point guard should be Magic and Shea. Your shooting guard should be Klay and Iggy. Your small forwards, I think one of them should be AK. I think one of your power forwards should be Amari. And then I think your center position is maybe fine. You know what you could actually do? Move Pau Gasol to the backup 4 and then get D-Rob for the starting center. And then for that backup small forward spot, maybe like a Cincy Powell, unless I'm missing somebody. Do you got any better suggestions? Because I'm kind of lost with this team.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of try to give you a 10-man is what I'm going to try to do. I think that's the easiest way that I can do this because this team can definitely use a lot of rebuilding. So point guards, Pink Diamond Magic, Amethyst Penny Hardaway. Shooting guards, Diamond Luol Deng, and Pink Diamond Iggy. Small forwards, Andre Karolinko, and I don't even know for the backup small forward. That's the main one. I think Paul George is fine at the backup small forward. We can leave him there. Amari and Karl Malone as your 2 power forwards. Probably start Karl, bring Amari off the bench, and then centers go D-Rob and Marc Gasol. You can afford that 10-man, selling everything and the things that you have, swapping things around. I think that's like a better overall 10-man than the team you have. That's just my opinion, what I'd be changing up. But something like that is a 10-man rotation, I think upgrades your team overall. Just gives you a better overall team to work with. So those are kind of my thoughts with this squad. And then the last team today comes in from Brody. He's got 400,000+ MT. Ben, DJ, Carmelo, Dr. J, OG Anunoby, Tim Thomas, E, Chet, Miles Turner at the backup 4, and then Kareem at the backup 5, as well as Pippen. He has Pippen as well. So he's got some cards for sure to work with. I'll say this. I'd start Pippen at the 3. Run Ben, Carmelo, Pippen, E, and Chet, and your starting lineup's set pretty much. Like right there, I think that your starting lineup is set. Now, backup PG. I would use Pink Diamond Penny over Dennis Johnson personally. That's just my opinion. I think I would just go Penny, Dr. J, Tim. I like that 3 right there. And then backup 4, backup 5. Miles Turner ain't bad. He's a solid card. You could definitely keep him in the lineup if you'd like to. I don't think that's a bad option by any means. If you wanted to, maybe you just go ahead and move Chet to the backup 4 and buy D-Rob again. I know we've been recommending D-Rob for a lot of teams, but I don't think that's a bad idea. Go and Chet at the backup 4, D-Rob at the starting 5. Right now, this team's like I don't know, including the guys you have at the end of the bench, Scotty and Penny, it's like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. So, or maybe even 8.5 out of 10. So I think you could upgrade it pretty close to a 9 out of 10 though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with JC said about the small forward position. Definitely start Scottie Pippen over OG. The one suggestion I will make for the bench is I definitely think you could go Penny if you want to save some MT over Dennis Johnson, but honestly, I think Magic Johnson, the Pink Diamond, could be a way better pickup because I do think he's better than Penny by a decent amount, and he's also next to 2 really good ball handlers in Dr. J and Tim Thomas. You don't have to worry about Magic being a liability on the offensive end. So I feel like him at the backup point guard, his Pink Diamond version, would probably be the best point guard for this squad. And then for your backup 4 and 5, I do see what JC is recommending. I personally still like Bob Nedelecki, and you have the MT to get him. I would get him at the backup 4, and then just go D-Rob at the backup 5. You can maybe start him over Chet, and then have Chet off the bench. You can kind of decide what you want to do. I personally don't like using Cream that much anymore, so even if you wanted to go super budget, I think Marc Gasol is a much better center than Cream. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the Rate Your Team series. I rate and prove your teams, whatever you guys want to call it. But yeah, just a massive shout out to JC for coming on this video. This was honestly one of the most random, confusing, I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. That was the most confusing video, but like I said earlier in the video, comment down below your team and MT amount, and I'll give you guys my best suggestion and my best, you know what, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I have no idea what I'm saying. Thank you, JC, for coming on the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.